In this video, I'm going to be sharing 3 tips on how I dealt with and overcame my anxiety. So stay tuned. It's a really interesting video. Now, anybody that knows me, even before the Love Yourself movement, even before becoming the Love Yourself guru, anybody that knows me knows that I'm a really confident person and positive in nature. And I'm quite really positive. And so if I told anybody that I went through a year of, really challenging anxiety, I don't think anybody would really believe me, because from the outside, I'm just so confident and positive. But I went through a year of challenging anxiety. I would get like knots in my stomach. I found doing things day to day very overwhelming. I was sweating, palpitations. I wasn't in a very nice place at all. And I really, at that time, I knew, well, any time in my life when I have challenges, I always go back to the drawing board. I do a lot of soul searching, a lot of prayer, and a lot of studying. I go back to the books and try to find reasons why I try to go to the root of why I'm going through what I'm going through, and how I can, God willing, get myself out of it stronger than when it came. So these 3 tips that I'm going to share with you, these are what I found. Honestly, they really helped me, and they were life-changing, so I wanted to share them with you. So the first tip was to understand my mind, and this not only helped me with my anxiety, but it helped me with, and it still helps me with my whole life. Like, it's life-changing. If you can understand the nature of your mind, then your whole life will change. And this is what I understood, that my mind has a nature of its own. Okay, so before, like, me and my mind, whatever my mind would throw at me, I would believe. So it was like my mind was controlling me. I was following my mind. But once I realized that my mind had a nature of its own, and my mind always wanted and always wants my attention, and the only way my mind can get my attention is to throw really negative thoughts at me, which in the past I used to believe. And so once I realized that in order for me to be happy, in order for me to not have anxiety in my life, okay, that I had to understand my mind and take control of my mind, then that was a game changer. Because before, when I used to get anxiety, I didn't realize there was a process. All of a sudden, I felt knots in my stomach. I started sweating. I found everything overwhelming. I couldn't leave the house, but I didn't realize, and it was almost as if it was thrown at me. But once I started understanding my mind, I realized that, that was just the end result. That was just my body reacting to all the negative thoughts that my mind threw at me. And I realized that my mind threw negative thoughts at me, okay? And in order for the process to lead to anxiety, which what I was going through, I would have to do 3 things. I would have to believe the thoughts, I would have to hold on to the thoughts, and I would have to interact with the thoughts and make them like a story. So let's say, for instance, my mind would throw a thought at, you're not good enough, okay? I would believe that, I would hold on to it, and then I make a story of all the reasons why I wasn't good enough. And then my body, and that's what I also realized, that my body is absolutely amazing. When I was experiencing anxiety, it was my body's way of saying, look, you're not aligned with yourself. You're not being aligned with your true self. These thoughts, I can't function correctly when you're thinking these thoughts, and these thoughts aren't good for you. They're not benefit you. Something needs to change. And I realized that my body was talking to me. It was that simple. Literally that simple. So what I started to do was, I did it very gradually. I started to instead of believing my thoughts and interacting with my thoughts, I started observing my thoughts. And I've done this in my previous videos, but it's very, very helpful. So here I'm going to show you, right? So this is my notebook. Can you see my notebook? I've done it. I'm gonna do it again in this video, just in case you've not watched my older videos. This is my notebook. Okay. I want you to observe this notebook. Okay. Now, what did you do? You observed the notebook, right? You're not the notebook, are you? You are the observer of the notebook, correct? Now, it's the same things with your thoughts. When your mind throws thoughts at you, you're not your thoughts. You're just the observer of those thoughts. And when I realized that, it was just absolutely life-changing. So I started to actually observe my thoughts instead of interacting with them. I just started to observe them. And when you just observe them and you let them go, you don't create the negative emotions, because you're not interacting with that thought. It's nothing to do with you. It just passes. Or I would say, for instance, if my mind would throw a negative thought at me, I would actually say, you know what, I'm not going to believe that today. Just for today. Because when you have anxiety, you take it day by day. So I would say to myself, you know what, just for today, I'm not going to believe that thought. And that was it. Every time a thought would come, I'd say, you know, I'm not going to believe that thought. I'm not going to believe that thought. And it really, really, really helped me. Understanding my mind really helped me. And so when I started observing the thoughts and saying, you know what, I'm not going to believe that thought today, and really understood my mind, then I was able to take control of my mind and direct it in ways that I wanted my life to be. Because your mind is a miracle if you control it. Your mind is a miracle if you are the captain of your ship. You know how to direct it. If you leave it up to its own devices, it's not going to be very nice, honestly. Because it wants your attention. Your mind wants your attention, so it'll just throw tantrums, like a baby. When a baby wants your attention, just cries and throws a tantrum. The same thing with your mind. You'll just throw a negative thought and it's got your attention. So if you want to be in control of your mind, you actually pick the thoughts that work for you, and the rest you observe them and you let them go. And gradually your mind will know. It will get the message. It will know that you are in control of your life, God willing. So that was number one, was to understand your mind. Now, number two is affirmations. Now, affirmations honestly really, really, really changed my life. And affirmations are actually, so you know how I said that your life will start to change once you can take control of your mind. Well, one way of taking control of your mind is actually affirming the thoughts that you want to see, you want to live, you want to feel, you want to see in your life. So for instance, I'm healthy, I'm feeling really good. So you're actually putting those positive affirmations. You're saying to your mind, right, this is what I'm going to think today. This is the thought that I'm going to think. So just behave yourself. This is what I'm going to think, and this is what I'm going to feel. Now, with affirmations, what I did find was when I had anxiety, okay, if there was a big gap between the affirmations that I was saying and my reality, then it didn't feel right, and it wouldn't work. I couldn't get the emotions. I couldn't get the emotions to align with that affirmation. So for instance, when I was going through anxiety, if I said the affirmation, well, I'm having a brilliant, amazing day, okay, well, I wasn't having a brilliant, amazing day. The gap was too big. So what I realized was, in order for me to feel comfortable and then starting to feeling safe and secure, because when you have anxiety, you just don't feel safe and secure, then I needed to say affirmations that would help me, that were closer to where I was. And I did gradually get to, it's a brilliant, beautiful, amazing day, but not at the beginning. It felt too uncomfortable. So these are the affirmations that I used, and they really helped me. I'm getting better. Thank God, I'm getting better. I'm getting better. I'm getting better. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. Everything is okay. Thank God, everything is okay. See that everything is okay. So when I was going through anxiety, and for instance, my mind would throw a thought at me, I learned to observe it. But then afterwards, I wanted to repeat an affirmation. So I would say, you know what, everything's okay. Everything's okay. I'm fine. I'm doing well. I understand my mind. I'm taking control of my life. Today is better than yesterday. And what happens is when you're doing that, when you have anxiety, really, you always look for reassurance from the outside world that everything is going to be okay. But when you get into the habit of saying affirmations, then you don't depend on anybody. You don't need that. You get into the habit of reassuring yourself. And that's the most important thing, because you're going to be with yourself more than anybody in the whole world is going to be with you. So it's really important not to depend on anything or anybody apart from God Almighty and yourself. And affirmations are a way of you reassuring yourself and putting yourself in a really safe and secure vibration. So you've done two things. Number one, you've understood your mind and you've said that, you know what, I'm gonna observe these negative thoughts. I'm not gonna believe them, hold on to them, or interact with them. And for today, I'm just not gonna believe them. And number two, you've started affirming things, yes, that make you feel safe and secure. Okay. And then number three, this is what I found. So once I understood my mind, once I started affirming thoughts and putting myself in a really safe and secure vibration, then I started to realize that, for instance, if I was in the house, for instance, and then my mind, because my mind, I realized, would often throw thoughts at me when I wasn't busy, when the kids weren't around, when I wasn't busy. And so that's when I realized, when I was at home, I realized that when my mind would throw a negative thought at me, okay, I wouldn't interact with it, and then I would do my affirmations. But I found another thing that really helped was that I realized that the mind can't do two things at once. So I took up things like Sudoku, adult coloring, some sewing, and I realized that when I was doing my adult coloring, or when I was solving my Sudoku or my crossword puzzle, okay, in the house, when I was sitting down, or when I was reading a book, the mind can't do two things at once. Honestly, just when you're sitting down in a quiet place at home, not while you're doing anything, not while you're driving or you're using any machine or anything. You have to be sitting, disclaimer, you have to be sitting down on a chair at home in a peaceful environment. And if you try to color, do adult coloring, or try to do Sudoku, and you'll realize that your mind can't throw the negative thoughts at you, and you can't and color at the same time. You can't do Sudoku at the same time. And that was life changing. And I've used that with my clients as well. So I had a client that was, did number one and did number two, really understood her mind and did the affirmations. But when she was, when there are times in the house when she was alone, when the kids were at school, then she would feel that the anxiety would come on again. And I said, just try this. And so she started to do some adult coloring. And what she realized was that the mind can't throw thoughts at you and color at the same time. So those are the tips that I use for myself to help me overcome and deal with anxiety, and the tips that I share with my clients. And I hope they helped you. If you have any comments, would you like to share anything, kindly just comment below. And I wish you a beautiful, amazing, wonderful day.